Right, I think we're on. Although we're on a different link now, which is annoying. But
Was that the bit we had to censor?
it must have been, mustn't it? I don't know why it didn't work. But
We need to tweet a news.
I'm going to do that. That's my next job. As long as it is working, which I think it might be. I can't work out technology, and which will become even funnier in a moment. When no, I don't want to take a hardware survey because it's not been working. I don't want to take a survey, YouTube.
YouTube?
YouTube.
You sound like Alan Brazil.
Man.
YouTube.
That'll please one of our viewers. Why? No. We might be on. We're on. I think we're on. If we are on, hello. Welcome back.
I bet they don't have these problems in podcasts in Australia.
Oh, no, certainly not. Or on... there we are. No, we're on. We're on. Certainly not. And certainly not on proper podcasts like... people say, why is this programme live? Well, it's in the title, isn't it? It says 4020 live. It is the 3rd of November. I mean, that's
you said people. Was that
people.
1, 2?
Yeah. That's why we're live. We're on now. Let me...
Alive.
We're alive. Yeah. I mean, here's the funny thing. I'll do this before any viewers come on. Well...
Don't peek too early.
No, well done to Lee Leppard and signing that massive deal with their new kit manufacturer. And apropos of nothing, I'd like to say that we've taken production, we've outsourced it to RSW Productions, who had nothing to do with anything to do with the club at this programme, and well done to them. So that was really funny, and I'm really glad I spent seconds making that, and now... I think we can start the programme properly.
See, there you are. That's the influence of IMG just there, isn't it? Commercialisation of 4020 Live.
But IMG are evil, of course, as we know. Yeah. So. But what can you do? What can you do? It's over, isn't it? It's over. It's all right.
Over.
It's over. Let it go. Call it a day. Because we've lost 2-0. We, being England, because we could be neutral.
Well, I'm sure our Papua New Guinea viewers are neutral.
Yeah, but... apart from those viewers in Papua New Guinea and everyone in... where else would there be? Sydney. Brisbane. Auckland. Hull.
Top 5 locations for listeners.
None of them in England.
Well, Hull is.
Well, Hull is, yeah.
Secure.
But apart from that, they're everywhere else. It's over. The series is over. Yeah, England have lost 2-0.
But the big decision is still to come.
Well, are we going to talk about that on this programme? Yes, we are.
No. The big decision is which referee is going to get the third test.
Well, it might as well be Liam Moore now. It doesn't matter, does it? And it didn't matter anyway, because England lost regardless of who the referee's been, and the Australians didn't seem to mention the referee after the first test. Did they? They were asked about it, and they think Cleary didn't seem bothered by the ruck speed.
They won.
They won. And they won again. And now...
They've all gone to Scotland on the drink.
Yeah, which is interesting, isn't it?
Too right.
That's the Australians.
Exactly, that's what they should be doing.
Too right. And that's what... Well, that's not what it's about, but it's about an experience, isn't it? Right? Yeah. They've done the job. They've won the Ashes.
And a couple of them should be getting their debuts on Saturday.
So. Yeah.
But what have we learnt so far from this? I think one thing we have learnt, there'll be others, is that if that game had been the first test at Wembley, it would have enlightened the series, which says to me we should have had a warm-up game.
100%.
So that our cobwebs could have been got out against even, a France, a Wales, a Jamaica. It doesn't matter. The fact is we should have had a run out. We should have then played with the defensive intensity we did for the first 40 minutes on Saturday. And then we should have had a little bit more creativity earlier off the bench, which I think is the other issue we probably need to talk about. But if we were going into the second test on the back of that performance at Everton, you'd be feeling a little bit more confident rather than drained that we're going into the third one. And what can we do to change things?
I think people were going into that second test fearing the worst, and the worst didn't come, in my view. I think it was a much improved performance, but it shows that what the Super League competition is incapable of producing, and has been for the last, not just Super League, but Rugby League in the UK, has been incapable of producing for the last 50 years, is a team that can do it on a consistent basis for 80 minutes or across 3 matches.
So I think there were two big factors on Saturday. One was you don't get too many opportunities to score against the Aussies. We had, I think, 4 in the first half. Morganell's probably a bit unlucky that he knocks on as he tries to pick up a ball. Yeah. Both of our wingers had chances, which is not to detract from our wingers, but we seem to have lost that element of blinding speed. I mean, I know Dom Young is quick if he's in open space, but to make a very unfair comparison, because you can't. You know, Martin Afai was a generational player, and they don't come around very often. But if he was an instinctive out-and-out finisher based solely on speed, and both wingers got an opportunity in the first half to try and take their man on outside, and yes, their covering defence is absolutely sensational, but speed kills, and we just didn't have it when we needed it the most. So we have 4 opportunities and we never quite get ahead. The second half, first 3 minutes, I'm thinking, yeah, we've learnt a lesson of last week. We were really poor at the start of the second half at Wembley. We've been aggressive, we forced them into a couple of errors, and then 2 tries in 5 minutes, and you think, right, the game's changed. They haven't had to work hard enough for their tries, even though Munsters, I thought, showed some genius to actually reach the line, because you're watching it and we were high up, but it looks like, oh, he's been stopped. Oh, crikey, how come he's come through the other side? That was solo brilliant. Yeah. So then you're 10 points behind and you think, right, how are we going to change it? And for the next 20 minutes, it was 5 drives and a kick. And we've got one guy on the bench who may or may not have been able to change it, but you might as well lose by 30 when the series is on the line.
You either pick him
as not give it a go.
You throw the ball about at that point, don't you?
But you put the guy on the field
who's
there not to be a backup hooker with 10 minutes to go, a guy who has the ability to at least take the line on.
So how did that question go down in the press conference?
We didn't do it.
You either pick him or you don't pick him.
But you don't.
But actually, you make.
Well, actually, to be honest, I watched the game and I didn't watch it live. But I got a bit bored with the last few minutes. I didn't even notice he came on.
Yeah,
Lewis.
But he's so wedded to Lewis. Knew he was coming on with 10 minutes to go to play at dummy half. You go like, the game went half an hour ago. Can we not change that and you do something else? And if Lewis, you might have to take your captain off. Sometimes it happens. He wasn't playing particularly well, George Williams. But if you wanted desperately to keep Williams on, then find a way of putting him at acting half-back and bring Lewis on in a position that he's used to. And at least see if he can trigger something. Because I think by their own admission, the Australians weren't great. Probably not even as good as they were at Wembley.
I don't think they're a great... they're not going to rank amongst some of the best Australian teams, are they? That's the reality of this team, in my opinion. And they may even win the series 3-0.
I don't think we know because they don't play enough rugby.
No, probably not. And it's probably unfair.
But they were great in the Pacific Championships last year, although Tonga ran on close.
But what they're showing is they don't need to be, do they?
No, what they did was enough to win.
England were the best side in that first 40 minutes, without doubt. They played with an intensity.
Yeah.
They had opportunities, they didn't take them, which were, You
just can't do that at this
No,
time.
I know.
Which again is about the intensity of our competition.
By the way, some of them weren't terribly missed chances. They were just...
It's the cumulative nature of it.
Just opportunities. And then what then makes it worse is then at the start of the second half when they get a sniff and they take them, it's even worse, isn't it? It's a real blow, and I think the psychological impact then that has on the team. England needed to convert. It's a bit like Wigan would typically score in the last few minutes of a half, won't they? A bit like Australia did last in Test 1. It needed a try from England. I thought the crowd, although it wasn't there, sounded much louder. And played their part certainly in that first half.
But you gave them something to shout about.
Yeah,
we were saying on the way in that you can't blame the atmosphere at Wembley for England's defeat in the first test. You can say that the crowd didn't get involved enough in the game because England didn't give enough reason for them to get involved.
But they weren't proper rugby league people in the South. The killer fact is the scoreline after 2 test matches is 40 points to 10. We scored 1 try in 160 minutes, and that was in the last minute of the game at Wembley.
I think there's 2 issues, and you sort of tend to analyse it more when the series has gone, and you think that, crikey, the next time England play after this weekend could be the World Cup.
Well, at the moment it will be because we don't like the French. We're not playing the French, are we? Because we didn't play them this year.
you look at it in the round and say there's two things. One is the issue the tactics that we played in this series, and the other thing is whoever the coach was. If you're going to criticise the tactics, what pool of talent has he got to go to that would have made it significant? Yeah, we can all argue whether the Man of Steel should be in there or not. We can all argue whether a young second rower should have been in there or not, or a young, maybe now looking at and I'm being ultra critical of Dom Young and Tom John Stone. But would Lewis Martin have scored those? Because he's young and he's quick. He is a genuine finisher and he's had a great season. We'll never know because we didn't put people like that in the squad.
The problem for both wingers is when they did get the ball, they had no room to work with.
Yeah, well,
it was.
But I just think, we can argue about 2 or 3 players, but where's the pool of players?
Well, there's two questions. Why has England, Great Britain, whatever you want to call us, not won a Test series in 50 years?
Yeah.
And there's a fundamental question there that the game needs to answer and has failed to answer for the last 50 years.
Which at the moment not only has failed to answer it, but actually exacerbated against it by going to 14 teams.
Well, Sean Wayne pretty much said as much, didn't he?
Yes, he said as much as he could possibly say.
Yeah.
Without saying, why the hell we've gone to 14 teams, I don't know.
Well, it's everything that we know and the public know because the public are not stupid. But they're not placing the governing body, the clubs,
absolutely,
really primarily, and not placing the emphasis on the international because the internationals are not generating the revenue that. But the
interesting thing about Mr. Volandis is that he can see that internationals do, and probably is the most underdeveloped area of a potential broadcasting deal, and desperately wants England and France to be better.
We're calling him Mr. Volandis now because A, Phil gave him a copy of 4020 on Saturday. And B, he might be in charge soon, so we need to show some respect,
PBL.
as opposed to, the likes as Mr. Beaumont called him, Big Nige. We don't need to respect him because
Okay.
Don't make any difference. You know what's going to happen, right? So when the NRL buy whatever they buy, what happened to Salford's mates buying Super League anyway?
Yeah.
When Mr. Volandis and the NRL and whoever else buys Super League and they buy what they want, what are the clubs going to do with the money? Because you know what they're going to do with the money, and I know what they're going to do with the money, and the Queensland Cup better be ready because we're going to raid you for all your players.
Yeah,
because they ain't going to spend it on youth development and stadiums and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that would be part of.
They make them.
Pathways should be where some of the money's going.
Pathways would be supplemented, possibly even centrally to start with, to make sure that was an important aspect of investing in the competition. And it may well be that some of our best young players get spirited over to play in the Southern Hemisphere.
Which would be good.
Because Andrew Johns, who I had the pleasure of listening to speak on Friday night before the test, was saying that Warrington their academy have just been over there, been pretty successful. But he spent a bit of time with Ewan Irwin, who is the young prodigy halfback that Warrington have got. And he feels that if you send our best spine players to Australia, even for 3 months, to be intensively coached and then sent back because they're under contract here, it would make a huge difference.
Great. Well, the reality is, if you had a team of NRL players representing England, Great Britain, you'd probably stand a greater chance of winning an Ashes series.
In the same way that
or a World Cup.
New Zealand and Samoa and
exactly.
Tonga and Papua New Guinea.
And that's the reason why Samoa and Tonga have improved.
Yeah,
because
and the
of the NRL
NRLW
players.
Samoan and Tongan women's teams are their players are now playing in the NRL. Fiji won the World Series against Ireland, Nigeria, and Canada because Fiji had more players that were playing in the NRLW. So they played to a higher standard, and there is a payoff to that, and he sees it, and our owners and game pay lip service to it.
Why didn't we play France in the middle of the season? We had our sit-down session, playing bingo or whatever, and
carpet bowls,
but we didn't play France. Now, I would say
because there wasn't a weekend free. It's again about the number of fixtures that you want to play, and I think this is the issue as well. With we've had a steer towards the fixtures are out 26th of November or something. But already we're hearing, because season tickets are going on sale, and you've got to tell the public what they're actually buying, that we're going to start earlier, we're going to finish earlier, we're still going to have 13 games, we might have an extended playoff series, or because Hill Dickinson was such a great stadium,
because
we now might have Magic Weekend
because
back at the
there's
Hill.
nothing like a knee-jerk reaction.
But nobody is saying there is a mid-season international break.
So because everyone seemed to have enjoyed themselves, and there were problems also, we'll come to those in a bit, but everyone seems to enjoy themselves in Everton at not the Hill Dickinson Stadium, because you can't call it that, and I'll explain why in a moment. But because one game has gone well in one place over one day, we're going to bring back Magic Weekend, which shows you the strategic bollocks of this sport.
That cannot be serious.
The strategic bollocks of loot fixtures.
Yeah.
That cannot be serious.
So we're getting rid of Magic Weekend, then we're not getting rid of it, then we're getting rid of it again, but now we might have it again because everyone likes it.
In a different venue.
Yeah.
I think
Are Everton going to pay for it? Are Liverpool City Council going to pay for it?
Well, if
or
they,
just decided we're going to
if they can get 52,000 people out, it should pay for itself. I mean, the thing about the value of international rugby...
When's the review?
December-ish.
When's the season start?
December.
Fixtures are released before then.
The interesting thing about the value of international rugby, which is almost a bigger future investment talking point than the results of this particular series, is we've had a record Ashes crowd at Wembley and a sellout at a new stadium in Liverpool. Like, that has value.
Yeah, it's been a commercial success as a tournament.
So anybody who says we shouldn't prioritise internationals, they are fooling themselves.
So we had a email. Was it Tuesday, Wednesday last week?
I don't know. It was one day last week. I didn't get.
You didn't read it, did you? You didn't bother. No.
I saw the first couple of lines. I thought, no.
You don't call it the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
Okay.
Just like we don't call it. Right. So Mr. Child and
Mr. Child.
Mr. and Mr. Child. I don't even know the name of your company. I apologise.
We get all sorts. Mr. and Mrs. Child. We get Child and
That's
Child.
definitely wrong. Yeah. Mr. and Mr. Child. Right.
Yeah.
So if you sponsor this stadium here, this one, the pitch,
the table of tap,
we'd call it the Mr. and Mr. Child Stadium, because that grammatically makes sense. But you can't call it the Hill Dickinson Stadium, because Hill Dickinson, whoever they are, don't want you to call it the Hill Dickinson Stadium or the HD Stadium or any other thing. It has to be
Hill Dickinson Stadium.
Hill Dickinson Stadium. Yeah.
But it's
if you get it wrong,
the with a lowercase t.
Yeah. But which made it funny, because we all referred to it as Hill Dickinson Stadium because we're good boys and girls in the media. But the pitch announcers, pitch side, kept calling it the Hill Dickinson Stadium. And that one's being paid for by the Rugby Football League. What can you do? As Andrew says, you won't get 52,000 inside the Everton Stadium for Magic over 2 days, maybe, but not even close for one afternoon. No, because it's International Rugby League, that drives things. But they don't learn that because...
You can't make a decision on Magic Weekend whether to
because
have the damn thing based on a venue.
No, we can.
Lord above, please.
because the catering was nice.
Oh dear.
We can, because everyone enjoyed themselves, so we can. Here's some messages before we get into it.
The Ashes donuts were spectacular.
They were.
They looked.
Ollie's asked us about, is Ethan O'Neill going to Leeds? I don't know. Apparently. Really enjoyed the Everton Stadium, says Ulysses, but a shame about the poor transport links. See, we can't comment on that because Phil drove. So the car park was lovely, right across from the stadium. But, I mean, we did have to go to one side of the stadium to collect our accreditation and then go all the way over to the other side to
have our
be
Ashes donut.
Ashes donut. But, yeah. Fed up of grit and passion, says Tim. Show Super League has been completely de-skilled. Old sports science and psychobabble to produce an attacking offering much blunter than part-timers of the early 90s. Tell us what you think, Tim.
I think there's something in that.
Yeah.
But I also think that it goes down to far too many teams in Super League have overseas.
Where's the halfbacks, Phil? Where's the halfbacks?
Because nobody's prepared to,
Mason Leno for England.
I do think that some of our kids do get frozen out of the game in key positions because clubs are not prepared to wait for them to develop.
Yeah, so what do we do? Increase the quota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's logical.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
You're not on the strategic review, are you? No. Wayne has got to step down, says Gary, because he's boring. Coaching tactics, and he keeps playing his favourites. That's why Wigan got rid of him as a Wigan coach at the time. But he's back there, Gary. He's part of Wigan. We'll come to that part of things in a bit as well.
The bit that's harsh is he may well have favourites, but that relates to the style that he wants to play. But there isn't a lot out there as an alternative selection. That between us, when we've spoken about it, we've come up with maybe 5 players that we might have had in there. But if you're going to have Mikey Lewis in your squad and have him on the bench, my argument is you've got to play him. Yeah, and you don't play him after 69 minutes has gone and you're losing.
Waste of an interchange. It was incredibly frustrating watching Lewis endlessly watching up, says Paul. And another Paul says, watch the other international games and we're in trouble. 160 minutes and 1 try says it all. I don't think this has anything to do with Lewis or Connor or any individual, says Adam. The problem is the repetitive, predictable and formulaic attacking structures that we see in Super League. We need more innovation.
Yeah, but I think what you need is a team that is successful on the field with a different approach in some ways, like Castleford were in 2017, albeit they lost the grand final. I think you need to see that. Is there a common
denominator there?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, but also, I think, again, you look at when Wakefield were at their best this year, Jake Truman was fit again and playing in the halves. And I think, you've got to give English halfbacks a chance to play in their proper position, because Lewis wasn't even in his proper position in game 1. And allow them to dictate a game, not play to a game plan that is so rigid that says, when it gets to 10 minutes from time, we're going to make this change. You go, do you want to have a look at the scoreboard first?
Now,
I just feel like Williams being a captain is a weakness for the squad, because it's feels like it's Sean Wayne doesn't want to not pick him because he's his captain, but and it's a massive statement to not pick your captain.
But you also can take him off if you need to change it up, and he happens to be the guy.
But if you're picking on form, then he wouldn't be in. Wouldn't be in the.
What does a captain do? Because this is the other thing. All the great teams of the modern era have had a number of leadership groups, so that if a captain is withdrawn, somebody else steps into the breach and acts as that captain. Some clubs have co-captains, one in the forwards, one in the backs. Personally, I would have made Mike McMeekin captain, because I think he's the kind of bloke that early in the game, the first 20 minutes, we were clearly the better, more physical team.
Definitely.
And it came from Lees and McMeekin. And I would have said, if he's your captain, the sort of Jamie Peacock type captain, they don't need to be on every minute. So you can do the same to George Williams. If you want to make him the captain, but he happens to play in the backs, if it's got to 50 minutes and you're 10 points down, and you want to make a change, and he has to come off to accommodate that change, just take him off.
Does the captain thing come back to our grit and passion and Winston Churchill nonsense? Because we expect the captain to be like Stuart Pearce was for England and shouting at people
you
and
do
pointing
if you're
and
in a
whatever.
different era.
But we're not, are we? George Williams isn't going to be stood behind the posts shouting at his teammates, because that's not the kind of person he is.
Nathan Cleary hasn't been a dominant player, apart from the fact that he can kick 40-20s to get his team out of trouble over the 2 games. But try telling me he isn't one of the leaders of that Australian team. He's not the captain. It doesn't matter.
Well, we'll see what happens when Sean Wayne announces his squad on Thursday lunchtime in Wigan.
I think what I would say, if you were that confident about his squad selection, then why make so many changes in going into Test 2?
Well,
I know what he would then say. Well, they didn't perform well enough in Test 1. That's fair enough. But if they were in form going into the series, then you'd expect them to perform. But if you're selecting players that are not in form and then expecting them to perform, why would you expect them to perform? It's not logical.
I'm probably going to quote him a lot, because I think Andrew Johns was really entertaining, and he was in the Australian...
He is an immortal.
Well, he was in the Australian coaching box, and we did see him the night before the game, so he gave some insight into what he thought would happen. And like a lot of people, he wasn't right with the margin, but he was pretty much bang on about how the game would go. And one of the things he said was, England have made 3 changes in the spine for the second test. So the likelihood is you're not going to win, because the best teams have the most consistent spines. And generationally you have to change them. So you can bring Reece Walsh in because, he's the outstanding player. But Australia did not alter their spine, because the team is built round it.
Yeah.
And England changed their fullback, their halfback, and their hooker.
I know.
It's like... You can't do that when the test is on the line. You either stick with what you've chosen because that is the foundation of your team, or you make one change, maybe there's an injury or you might decide that Wellesby was out of, but you don't
I know,
change three
and
and
then
then expect not to be starting again.
Agree, and then that's what comes back to the point about maybe not playing France mid-season, but maybe play them pre-tournament and use that to our advantage as a warm-up game, because it was absolutely clear that neither side played well in Test 1. The combinations weren't quite there, the passing wasn't there, mistakes were made. That to some extent could have been got out of the system in game 1. The intensity that they started the game in game 2 should have been there in game 1 and wasn't.
Yeah.
And the Australians did train with the French. So they
Yeah,
must have got
which
something.
w-
They
which
must have
was-
got something out of it, because we, it's no point us doing anything with the French.
Which again was an opposed training session because the Rugby League Players Association didn't want a full contact game, but they did the next best thing.
Yeah.
What did we do?
We didn't even warm up on Wembley pitch.
And it's those sort of things that in the final analysis you'd have to say it's not just about the pool of reservoir of talent you've got available and did you quite get that right, of which case I'd say we're talking about, I said, half a dozen players maybe. It's more about the whole way you've treated the series. So, did you overbuild it up?
Who's
Now,
yes, we did.
Now we're obsessed with it not being true. We're not obsessed. We just want a performance.
But even if we win the third test, it means absolutely nothing. It's not pride's irrelevant.
It's not pride.
We lose the series. It doesn't matter. We've lost
I
the
think
series.
I think
we've
it
not won
does
the
matter.
Ashes.
1988, it mattered. Winning in Sydney with the Mike Gregory long range try, it did matter. And we went into Wembley in 1990 because we played internationals more often in those days. And we took what had happened in 88 and the things that had gone well in that last test into winning the first test at Wembley in 1990. So it does have an. If this is going to be our last game before the World Cup, to win it, it doesn't make a statement, but it just gives you something to work with going towards the next tournament.
Now you think, what would have happened? What if this Ashes series had happened in 2020 before the 2021 World Cup? Because that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd have got the wake-up call. Is it a wake-up call? I don't know.
Got a wake-up
because
call.
we already knew, didn't we?
It's not
we
a
already
wake-up
knew.
call, nor a reality
No,
check.
we already
It's
knew.
only telling us what we already knew from about 1982 onwards.
So going into the World Cup next year, and I know I said this before in the programmes, it's almost as if I'm repeating myself. And obviously we got it wrong for the first test because Harry Smith didn't play. But if everything is still as it is, you'd expect the World Cup squad to include Harry Smith, George Williams, John Bateman, even though they're another year older. And
depends who the coach is.
Well, then
that's
Bateman
the
didn't
question.
play, did he? Test
No,
two?
he's his ankle, hasn't he? So,
Okay.
yeah. So Morgan Smithies played
He
in the
was
team
great-
that won the
was
minor
great off the
premiership.
bench.
Why didn't he play in the first test?
No, he added a real impetus
Why was
when
he in
came on.
why, I know it's picking on John Bateman here, but why Morgan Smithies is in form? That's fair, isn't it?
I also
That's
thought
fair.
that the other player who deserved probably an 8 out of 10 if we're talking marks, which we don't do, was Callum Watkins. Because again, played the full 80.
Yeah, I thought he played well.
Isn't that a kind of damning indictment?
Yeah,
And that's not a knock on Callum
not on
Watkins.
him at all. No, but I think he, again, the form that he showed in the second half of the season, why did he not play in the first test? Or at least be on the bench in the first test, because he offered covering the forwards, and as it happened in the end of the second half, he was playing in the centres.
Well, they had to play in the wing when Dom Young went off.
Yeah.
What squad's he going to pick this week?
Well, if there's any sense, he's going to make more changes, because why you're not going to why stick with the exact same squad from Saturday when it's clear that he doesn't know what his spine should be? So why not change the spine again?
Now, knowing, because
Try Smith and Lewis as a half-back combination. Put Williams on the bench. I don't expect he'll do it though.
Tom Johnston has come out and said publicly that he's carrying an injury. He's going to miss possibly the start of the season because he needs surgery. If I'm a Wakefield supporter, I'm angry because he should not be playing now. He should be going straight to surgery. I know, but I'm sure he'll want to play against Australia, especially in his hometown of Leeds, via Germany.
Yeah.
But I know, but I can't name names because I don't know from more than one person, and the players involved have not publicly said they are injured. But I know there are other players who are carrying injuries in this England squad. I don't want any of them to be playing.
There will be in the Australian squad.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
just perfectly normal this time.
But
But we've lost now.
But
So it
all
doesn't
that's
matter.
telling you is that our season is too long. So A, it's not too long, and B, it's not intense enough.
Agreed.
So you're just playing matches on matches on matches, but they're not preparing. And the Aussies were saying it as well, that they want the international jersey to be regarded higher than the Origin jersey. But at the moment, the intensity in Origin is higher than it is in Test matches. So therefore, Origin in a way, it doesn't mean more, but you've got to be at a higher level over 3 games than you will have to over these 3. Which is, that's what we got to change.
Lewis had his chance in the first test and fluffed it, said Freyand.
In the wrong position, though. The thing is, I'm not talking about whether Lewis fluffed it or whether Connor should be... Like, if you're going with what you've got and things are moving away from you, and I remember, I was commentating on it on Saturday, looking at the team sheet at half-time and saying, who has a possibility of changing this game? It's 4-4, it's a stalemate. At what point does Mikey Lewis come on? Because looking at the England bench, he's the only guy that can actually change something. And then 10 minutes later, you're saying, oh, all of a sudden we're 14-4 down. You really should throw Lewis on now. And it's not whether Lewis is the best player or the most capable player. It's like he's the only player on the bench in the team that you've selected who can change something. So don't wait to throw him on. And he may not have proven that he can play at this level yet, but you have to play him.
And even if he doesn't want to do that, just change the way you're playing.
Change something.
You talk about staying in the grind, just playing the sets. That's fine when you're 4-4. But at some point you've got to try and score. And
the Aussies don't play that way. There's a lot of talk about we need to play the English way. Well, the English way is not to stay in the grind. Because we can't beat a team that is better than us at staying in the grind. So we have to find a different way of playing. And you can only, you can play only to the skills of the players that you've got. But you might as well lose a series by 30 points than lose it honourably by 5. So try.
Was it at the end of last year or the year before when Sean Wayne was asked about Origin and was fully behind it? I can't, because we couldn't fit it in, and so it was a pointless thing. Because Nathan's mentioned that as a possible trial. But again, is the intensity there? I don't know. And the other thing is, you can't say it to the public because the rugby league public know that it's not what they want.
The intensity comes from playing fewer games of higher quality. Not bringing in Yorkshire, Lancashire, East or West, because you're then adding something to a fixture list that is already overcrowded. We need to look at the fact that we think the Challenge Cup is going to start in the middle of January. That first round won't be the Super League clubs, but the second round is likely to be the very beginning of February. And you're thinking,
I need a break.
You see, this is where
Hull have gone back to pre-season training today, and the season isn't even finished.
You should be going to an 8-team, never mind even 10-team competition. If you had an 8-team competition,
but it's not about the teams;
the
it's
level
about
of
the
intensity.
rounds. If you can have, there's an argument about if we have more teams, we have lesser quality players, and we're going to tend to sign overseas players rather than develop British ones, because wherever there's that potential of relegation, which may be brought back, then clubs want to play in the division that they need to play in rather than blood their youngsters for something that's coming further down the line. But it doesn't matter how many teams you have. It's how many rounds do you want to play.
True, but
we play too many, especially if we want to play the Challenge Cup as well.
But even if there was 14 teams and you only played them once, so you played 13 fixtures, I'm still not convinced that you'd get a level of intensity across 14 teams that you would need.
But I do think the fewer games the top players play in a more condensed time of the season where it's conducive to playing, you're starting to at least address what your issues are. I wouldn't have 14. We said at the time,
Madness.
The idea that the NRL was suggesting 10 had a lot of sense attached to it in terms of improving the quality of your product.
It's a cash grab for owners who don't want to put in as much money as they have because the sport isn't commercially viable enough to make more money, that they don't have to put in as much, but we'll get another couple of teams in Super League so they can get money while it's there.
But 1 million people roughly have watched both of these test matches on the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
So the market's there for all the clubs to get a share out of,
but unfortunately,
the international team being successful.
Unfortunately for the club owners, England versus Australia is not let's pick some random place in the north that don't have teams. Todmorden versus Sunderland.
No.
And that's the problem.
But if you watch the Pacific Championships at the moment, where the players are coming off having played a fewer number of games, some of them, well, most of them don't play in the state of origin. They are primed to put in fantastic performances at this time of the year. It's very hard to do that when you've already played 36 matches.
And especially without grit.
No matter how good you are.
The Tongans don't have grit, or the Samoans, or the Papua New Guineans, or the Cook Islanders. Or
They have Carver.
What, the...
Sparkling
not champagne, yeah. Hello to all our viewers in Port Moresby.
Whose men were great. Women, we don't know what's happening.
No. There's anything else to talk about in terms of the game because it's just a meandering discussion about what. There's no point talking about the game because the game's gone and we lost. And it doesn't matter that Australia weren't as good as they were. We all went into this thinking England will improve, but Australia will as well. And Australia didn't. They kind of regressed a bit, but we still couldn't beat them. And that's the problem. Reece Walsh was rubbish this week. Last week he was going to win the Golden Boot. This week he's not going to win the Golden Boot.
Again, it's fundamentals and basics that on at least 3 occasions in the second half, we managed to give Tom Johnson a ball that he could do absolutely nothing. You know, one time it was in touch behind him, and twice, here Tom, have the ball with 3 Australians on you and the touchline at your side, and you think that's just basics. Well, why are those passes being given? And has Tom Johnson said something in the dressing room that's upset his halfback? But it's little things like that. You just don't give that pass.
It was telling that when Australia were down to 12, and it actually looked the other way around.
Yes.
It looked the other way around.
And I think that's the other thing. We know from the intensity of the NRL regular season, we know that goes up for Origin. The one thing they have got is the most disciplined defensive structures. So that even if you take a player out, somehow they still had 3 people in the corner covering. So what are you going to do to break that down? If you just try knocking on the door politely, you're never going to break them down. You know, chip it over the back fence or whatever you need to do to take them by surprise.
Well, I thought their last tackle options were good. They were varied. Certainly, looking at that first half, pretty much every last tackle set that they were showed in the halftime highlights was different. It was a kick to the corner. It was a grubber kick. It was whatever. I thought their last tackle sets, end of set options were much better. Just couldn't convert them.
But the second half, we reverted to, let's not try anything out of the ordinary at a time when the game was slipping away.
But that comes back to the coach.
Yeah, I think that's where he is
too conservative.
So,
sorry, go on.
I would say the only other thing to talk about is the performance of the referee, because I know we joked at the beginning that the big decision was who's going to get the third test, but there was some criticism of the fact that the referee was trying to over-direct the video referee. And 2 things strike you about that. One is that because we take too long to make decisions and the referee is an Australian who isn't used to us taking so long, and is thinking maybe they need some help because the bunker hasn't come back and said straight away, try confirming.
We don't have a bunker. We can't afford a bunker.
And then the other thing was the Munster try probably was the only one that was over debated, with a potential obstruction, a potential double movement. There weren't either.
No, I think on the Munster try, it was a try for me. He does run behind his own man, but there was depth. There was depth to the defensive line. It's covered in policy and interpretation around obstruction. Just because you run behind your own man doesn't mean it's an obstruction. There was depth, and Williams knew that the man in front wasn't getting the ball because he was in front. I'm not convinced that is the difference as to why they scored the try. It's definitely not double movement, so there's no question about that. I thought on the referee, second tackle of the game, penalty in the ruck. There was a clear agenda there from the referee. His tactic clearly was to go in hard, to try and set that tone. I thought overall the rucks were better. They weren't squeaky clean. I'd be surprised. I suspect he would have gone harder had it been an NRL game. I think there were 1 or 2 inconsistencies occasions where I thought he would have stepped in and given something either way in the ruck and didn't. But overall, I thought the rucks were better. What was your other question on the referee?
Well, 3 sin binnings. I think again that set the tone. It was quite good.
Personally, I thought the sin binnings early on, it was balanced. It was 1 from each. I thought it was a bit harsh. I think I'd have been more of the of the view that, look, I'll give you one bite of the cherry. You get it out your system.
Match, yeah.
You get it out your system anymore, and I'll deal with it differently. Because the danger is once you go with the card straight away, is if it happens again,
Yes.
what do you do next time?
Yeah.
So that was my personal opinion. I'm not saying he was wrong. It's down to the individual as to how they're going to deal with it. He dealt with it in balanced, so that was fine. But it wouldn't have been how I would have dealt with it. That said.
And then the over-refereeing of the game.
And the video refereeing and the influence, I think I think to some extent he was trying to influence the video referee's decision. Should he do that? Probably not. I don't know
the
what
speed of the length of time of the decision.
Possibly. I don't know what they do in the NRL. I mean, in the NRL, I think they have 2 video referees. They have an assistant guy in the bunker that helps line up the clips and stuff like that. We have one video referee over here. Whether he was just genuinely trying to help. When I could hear him, I thought he was, to be fair. Whether that was becoming a little bit, what's the word? Not confusing, or maybe a little bit from the video referee, and distracting as the word I was looking for, whilst he's trying to make a decision and he's not used to that. Maybe the captain's challenge was a poor decision. I think it wasn't a knock on.
It's not a knock on, is it?
It wasn't a knock on. That was a
not
poor
even
decision.
a little knock on.
No. Did it affect the outcome? No. It'd be interesting to see who gets the nod for Test Match 3. Does it really matter? No.
Who's your money on that?
I would say Grant Atkins, I think, of
Right.
the two, in all honesty, but I don't know. There's always politics at play with international appointments, so who knows? I think the reality is England lost both, so it doesn't really matter. Australia have won both. I don't think either nation would be jumping up and down about the selection of the referee. Had it been 1-1, I'm sure they would be. But I don't think the referee was an issue in the game. In all honesty, and I don't think it was in either Test match. So which is good. Ultimately, people have been talking about the performance of England or lack of.
So Jack Smith got booed leaving, so that was. I think the people were just bored. They were just waiting there to.
Look, I think decisions can be made a little bit quicker at times. I must admit, and there was a decision later on, wasn't there, whether it was a knock on or not by Australia that led to a try. And for me, I think the video referee said it was inconclusive or there was insufficient evidence. For me, it was just a knock on by Australia. And on the double movement or not, I think that could be made quicker. Sometimes, though, you hear the video referee say, "Can I have that same angle again?" and they show him a different angle, and that's
not the video
that's
referee's
adding
fault,
time to the process. So that's not helpful. There was also delays around the first video referee referral. The referee's not on screen. We don't know what his live call is. Then they later put him on screen, and then there's a delay. Is it coming up on the screen or not?
Yeah.
There's all those delays around a broadcaster that's not usually broadcasting, so they don't help matters. But I think where a referee or video referee is in control, you can only control what you can control. I think it can be at times a little bit quicker.
English players, says Friand, need to practice the basics, catching, passing, etc. The Aussies have always beaten us because they are slicker and faster. Catching a ball above your head, standing still, equals lose. That's fair enough. But that's not an international coach's job. They should already know how to do that.
They play in a competition whereby they know that to make a chance is at a premium, because defences of every team in the NRL are so good. So there are some players on given days that will try the unorthodox. More often than not, your basics have to be brilliant because you're not going to get many opportunities, and that proved to be our downfall.
I have more confidence in the English refs will give decisions than in the Aussie refs will give decisions rather than the English refs, says Tom. Everything in Australia is better than us. Speaking of Landy's going to send us some referees as well. And do we get their comment? Is Andrew Voss coming over? Do we get Andrew Voss as well?
There's lots of talk about what Volandis may or may not be interested in investing in, and he's playing politics really well with saying,
He's on the telly.
We're just here to help. That's all. It's not a business decision. We love you guys. Without you guys, there's no us guys. So what can we? It's a little bit more involved than that.
I'd have loved to be in a fly on the wall in that meeting.
Yeah.
I bet if they promised a strategic review, I can't say it. Sorry. If they did one of those, they'd actually deliver it on time and not drag it out, kicking a can down the road like the HMRC in Salford. But
I mean,
what's that review even going to tell us now?
well,
Because the season,
it's not going to tell us anything if we get investment from somebody else
Whitehaven-
who sees it a different way.
Whitehaven are undermining the Rugby Football League by saying, "Well, no one's told us what the championship's going to be."
They've
like
got
this year."
something on Facebook.
They're live
tonight,
now, yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah, all our viewers are going to go watch that instead.
But
It's just a mess.
the interesting thing is about the talk with Valand is that more and more is coming out about the kind of things that might have been on the agenda. He is interested in the grassroots game and the pathways.
Whereas our clubs possibly aren't.
No, and
As
I
much.
think that he is interested in giving the clubs X more money. I don't think we actually fully know the figures of it's going to go from point A to point B, but our broadcasting deal ends at the end of 2026. Their broadcasting deal ends at the end of 2027, but they will have renegotiated that by the beginning of 2027. So the two are effectively coming into line, and he's almost already promising our club owners more money from an enhanced television deal if he can be the one that does the television deal. So you can see how the dynamics are just starting to play out. London is fascinating. I heard two stories on London over the weekend. One was London is the pawn that Valandis is going to do to say, I don't want to interfere in your competition, but we are having London in it, and they're gearing up to be in it. The other one is that actually it's Lockyer and co have seen an opportunity that views London very much as Wrexham, and they've looked at the documentaries that have been made, the audience that have been attracted to what Ryan Reynolds has done with Wrexham, and actually it doesn't matter what division you play in, it's about the story. So if you go through the season and you're winning every game and you're creating an entity, that's as much a story as being in a division you're not ready for and losing a lot of games. There's not about a story there.
Look at Wakefield and
So-
other teams that have done that.
But I do think London being, if they do have the season that everybody predicts they're going to have, there has to have a door that they know is already open, like before this season starts, to get in.
It feels like 26 could be a one-off year. It's a sort of a holding year.
Yeah, it is.
Get a contract extension for TV or whatever to align the two
Or
contracts.
allow your broadcasting rights to be taken on by another party who, and we all know that all of the big events DAZN have been partnering with Valandis and the administration. Now, whether they are serious about buying a global product, whether that then promotes Sky to say, right, well, we will now start upping our bids rather than reducing them, that's all part of it. The IMG is Valandis has met with IMG while he's been over here. So again, they're part of whatever is going on, and all of the talk of we're paying too much and we don't want gradings and we don't need you can forget all that, because they are going to be a very serious player in bringing broadcasting partners together.
I'm not an expert in negotiations and stuff. I've never read The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. But what I would assume is that if you're going into a round of TV negotiations very soon, is not to really slag off the broadcaster who's been funding you for the last 30 years and actually overall does a good job. Certainly better than your own in-house TV stations. Yeah, I wouldn't do that personally, especially not when I look at Lee's women's highlights.
But again,
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think that makes you an outlier.
What about the latest monologue that came from one of the people involved in the game about what could happen with this extra game, the seventh game?
I'm going to use the word again, and I apologise. It's bollocks. It's just made up, as you would say, on the back of a fag packet.
Yeah.
The numbers don't add up. Just because we've had good figures on the BBC the last couple of weeks, and people who've gone to Everton and they've gone to Wembley, who are not rugby league people, because they're attracted to England versus Australia, and that's the same for TV viewers. They see that they might not even know there's two different types of rugby, or if they do, they're not bothered because they want to watch England versus Australia, and the same doesn't apply to right. So in this extra game we've got, it's likely to be two teams who don't get TV viewers. So I'm going to suggest Huddersfield versus York might be one of those games. Who are you selling that to? Because you're not selling it to the people who've watched England versus Australia. You're not even selling it to us.
I think the suggestion was that
it would
be they'd get the third choice.
Yeah, why would they?
But Sky would get choice 1 and 2, but why? I don't know. I don't know how the current contract exists, but clearly it would be a renegotiation of the contract.
Yeah.
And why would why would the party that owns the contract or is a party to it, Sky, then
Yeah.
say, okay, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
we'll let you have
rest,
third pick? No, what the
Absolutely,
hell?
yeah.
They'll just say you can have the seventh pick.
Yeah.
You can have Toulouse versus York.
Otherwise,
You
we'll
can
just
have
leave the
Toulouse
contract exactly as it is, and we'll just cover the 6.
Yeah, and the 2 that we want will go on our main channels, but the next 4 we want on our red button so that people will watch it.
Yeah, and by the way, we're the exclusive broadcast of
Yeah.
the Rugby League, but subject to the BBC taking that game or here and then. So I don't know that you need to know the details of the terms of the contract.
Of course.
But for me, it just doesn't add up.
You don't do it when the contract's being renewed.
And it's
you
okay
don't
saying,
upset you.
the coverage isn't good enough. They're not going to spend money on having the full TV production for a game behind a red button in the same way that they don't for the
EFL football.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they have
absolutely.
36 games a weekend in the EFL.
But
They're not going to be
they're not
filming
full production. It's just a way of showing goal
Northampton
highlights.
Town versus Grimsby in the same
exactly.
way.
But no one's going to pay in number
nonsense.
to watch a one-off game or even a subscription for one game per week
But not
in
in
Super
COVID
League.
now.
It just doesn't make sense.
If you look at I know the NRL, it's comparing apples and oranges, but in the current week where they're having the Pac Champs and the Pac Bowl, they're putting together a weekly highlights program. We can't even do that for the Championship. And people say, "Oh, the Championship should be on TV." The clubs can't be asked to do it themselves. And if they can't be bothered, why is a TV broadcaster? And I'm not talking about Premier because they're in nonsense. They don't count. Yeah, they've got the Scottish League Cup. Who cares? Well, they can show
still
Celtic
going?
it's still going. But they're not going to fund the Championship's not going to be. No one cares about the Championship in terms of TV. And now we've got the Super Championship where we're going to have 100-0 blowouts potentially on a week by week basis. When London play whoever, Newcastle.
Well, that was a leak or supposed leak, wasn't it? The
it's been leaked now.
fixture table,
Oh,
fixture format.
Leaks are back. I tell you what, Valandy's what's it? I don't know him, but he was self, and that will he won't be having pet journalists getting stories from clubs and CEOs.
I think he does when it suits him, yeah.
Well, of course,
Because that's how the world works.
but not what a load of nonsense, a load of rubbish. Well, that's me condescending and stuff, but it's true. Broadcasters aren't going to pick up an extra get. Why would you? If you were DAZN or TNT, we'll give you one game a week and it's Huddersfield versus York or Wakefield versus Toulouse. Yeah. Why? But when's the strategic review out?
December's council.
What's it going to be? What's going to be in it?
Who
Because they've
cares?
changed everything
Who
now.
cares?
They've changed it. They've changed it to 14
Because
clubs.
it's
So
not
we can't.
it's not necessarily going to be down to what's even in that review.
What a waste of time. Who's above Sean Wayne, by the way, in the pecking order? Who's the?
Well, I would imagine it's now Abby Akoko.
Do we not have a performance
or
director?
Rodri
something?
Jones.
Do we not have a performance director anymore?
No.
No. So
I don't know if Mark Lovering heads up that section, does he? I don't know.
Might do.
He'll be covering all sorts. I don't know.
I'd have said now that we've got.
I don't think Sean Wayne's answerable to anybody, though, is he? Let's be honest.
No. Who would want to have that conversation? Sure,
exactly.
sit down. It's like a contract extension.
and when we talk about media coverage, and there's been a kerfuffle this week because Reece Walsh hasn't been put up by the Australians, but he was in the press conference last week at Wembley.
He signed all the autographs.
He signed
for
all the autographs,
kids.
which England players didn't necessarily do. 7 in Australia, they got to speak to him. They you know what, 7, they're quite a bit more important than us. I'll use us as an example. 4020 magazine. I don't know the demographics of our readers, Phil. I know the demographic of our audience on YouTube, because we had a look earlier, and nearly 50% of you are males over 55. Right? We're locked in. We're locked into Rugby League. We're going to watch it.
Well, that's Rugby League's demographic, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, Reece Walsh is on the Instagram and he's on the TikTok and stuff. And he reaches a different audience to us. And that's fine. Because our audience ain't going to be on Instagram looking at Reece Walsh's videos on TikTok. Because it's
You're on
different.
Instagram.
Oh, yeah, I am.
So it's fine.
He only follows women rugby players. On Instagram.
Not all. I follow Junior and Sember as well. And I'm more flustered now. So it doesn't matter that Reece Walsh isn't talking to us necessarily. Because
He's
there's plenty of
the
Australians.
widest possible audience.
There's plenty of Australians that are speaking to us. And last week, England did their press conference pre-match, where they do it in Wigan. Which was the player they put up to speak to the media?
Was it one who wasn't playing?
It was Owen Trout, the 18th man. So if we, us, England, are doing that, who cares what the Australians are doing? Because they're giving us far more access. No, is that fair? Is that fair for me to say? That's probably not fair, is it? They're giving enough access to their star players that it doesn't matter. And with the best one in the world, Owen Trout, the 18th man, he's not going to be the first choice in any of these test matches, and that's not a knock on him. But he's not Jack Wells.
The Australian journalists, both broadcast and written, are getting everything they need.
Do we get what we need from England? Do we get what we need from the clubs week in, week out?
I can't really answer that because we're a monthly magazine, so we don't need very much.
No. But is it easy to get hold of players on a weekly basis if you're on the media beat? Well, it suggests the answer to that question is no.
Not as easy as it should be.
So we've
because
got to get
again, that's partly down to club in-house TV.
Exclusive. We've got an exclusive interview with Gary Hetherington. We should give you the bloody club. I'm not picking on Leeds.
But it gets you IMG points.
Yeah, I'm not picking on Leeds there, because every club does it. Exclusive interview with Ryan Carr. Yeah, and then you're doing a press conference 2 days later. It's well done. Well, did you spoke to your own boss?
It is a bit self-defeating.
We spoke to our own person. Great, excellent.
What questions are you going to ask now? We've asked all the questions.
Ryan, what's it like being at Castleford? I've not watched it. That's unfair of me, but it's the same point. Everything I say, I'm having to put a proviso in, even though I do mean everything I say. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it. There were other internationals. Is there anything else to say? All right. So they haven't have our league sent a thing about who should be in the English squad. No, they haven't. Oh,
our predictions mustn't have been far off.
We can't have been far off, can we? If I can.
We said Brimson. We said
that's why
Smithies.
So many people tuned in. To our predictions.
The poll this week is the poll that's up there at the moment. How good was the atmosphere at the Hill Dickinson on Saturday? They've done it again.
Yeah, they did.
They've done it again. They've put dirt in there. Right? We would have got a bollocking if we'd done that.
Would have thrown us out. We
I've got to stop
wouldn't have
swearing.
allowed you to have a second Ashes donut.
Here, I only had one.
Did you?
Yeah. No ice cream.
Some people had 5 in there.
Well, yeah, they're bastards, aren't they? I've got to stop swearing. It's because John's not here.
I know it was explicit last week. You must have had an E on the podcast.
Apologies to all our younger listeners. We haven't got any younger listeners. The squad we picked, I must have deleted it, but we weren't far off.
No.
So here's the 4 options we've got this week. Best I've experienced for a rugby league match. I don't know what the best was, but no, probably not. Stadium was like a cauldron. It was bloody tall. Oh, it's very steep. If you're going back there in the future,
and you've got vertigo,
sit near the front.
Don't pick seat row number 59.
Crowd could have made it even louder. Well, they could always make it louder.
I don't know. I had headphones on.
Flat as a pancake. Well, it wasn't that, was it?
No,
it wasn't being at Huddersfield. Well done the RFL for that thing this week. And well done to Java. He's off to jail.
Did you pick him up?
Who?
The imposter
Oh,
in
the
the
imposter.
Australian line?
Java 69.
No, but then I fast forwarded through that bit because I wasn't watching it live, you see.
So 2 questions.
Might get a game for England.
One is, how did he get a replica kit, as they are not available?
With his name and number on the back. Not in the official letters.
How?
So it's an inside job.
How did he get on the pitch? You know,
Cameron wants to put his arm around him.
Yeah, where was he stood? Because clearly he couldn't come out with the teams, but did nobody think it's quite odd there's a bloke stepping over the boundary? Raises huge security issues.
Java.
Connor should try it next week, shouldn't he?
Hull KR have posted their Las Vegas home shirts have been stolen, says Paul. I mean, that's good publicity for them, isn't it? London Broncos, under 16s, play. Oh, yes, Paul mentioned last week that they were playing in this. Now he's mentioned that they played in it.
Yep.
The Community Tens tournament. What's Tens? Won all 7 games against Leeds, Wakefield, Featherstone and Castleford.
Fantastic.
And as we know, Featherstone is the world home of International Rugby League. We'll come back to England in a moment because we've got something else to say about it.
What was that about?
Well, yeah, exactly, James. Exactly, James. You're you're an important business person, right? So, Mr. and Mr. Child,
Keep mentioning it.
we'll get it right eventually. Yeah. Mr. and Mr. Child are going to sponsor an international game, right? Because you've got too much money now. So you're going to throw it away on International Rugby League. And you've got all these choices, but they're all being played at the same time as each other in the same pit village. It's a pit village without a pit. We're not talking Sydney. We're not talking London. We're not talking Leeds
They
or
didn't play at
Manchester.
the same time, surely.
Well, almost.
One was played at Featherstone Lions.
well,
One kicked off at 12 at Featherstone Lions, the other kicked off at 2 at
But even
the
better,
Millennium Stadium.
at 11:30 in Castleford, at Cas Panthers, not even the best team in Castleford, because that's Loch Lane.
We're not
Wales,
going to Cath Panthers on our next tour.
Wales A played Ireland A, which did overlap with the women's game, which was being played at the Mill Pond Stadium between Jamaica and Scotland. Well done, Scotland on their win.
First ever women's win.
Shall I turn the page over? I'll tell you what the score was.
38-12.
38-12, don't need to tell you.
Is it something to do with the pitch?
It's to do with idiocy. That's what it's to do with, James. It's to do with absolute idiocy and lack of joined-up thinking. I could be a politician. Why are Wales A playing Ireland A in Castleford when... And there was a game next day in Featherstone anyway. They had the Barlin National Cup final. But... They can't...
When was Featherstone in Ireland?
There
Because
must
they
have been...
played at the Knoll, didn't they? Ireland and
That's in Wales, that's definitely.
24-0 last week. It's a 2-game series. So Ireland's home game is in
Do
Featherstone.
they get to share the trophy?
Trophies at Wigan.
So Ireland won the second game against Wales. And why are the A teams playing in Castleford just before these
Since
teams?
when have
play
they
in
had A
Featherstone?
teams, by the way?
These are community teams, I think.
Are they?
Apologies.
No,
whatever.
I think they are
Oh,
listed
right.
as A teams, but I think the Wales Dragon
Well,
Hearts
whatever
are
they
community
are.
players.
Whatever they are.
But
Why? Now I understand, because Scotland and Jamaica as women international, they are not Wales and Ireland. So there would be implications on the cost and blah, blah, blah of hiring out Featherstone. But I'm sure they could have come to some arrangement. Why would you have two internationals in the same place at different venues? It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid.
well, all right.
because people might accidentally have gone to watch them.
Even if it did make sense, why would you have it on at the same time that England are playing Australia?
People accidentally
Oh,
might have
was
gone to
it?
watch them. Yeah, yeah.
The second game.
They wanted you to pay for a stream for Wales versus Ireland with the best way in the world. England Australia, featuring some of the best players in the world, is on BBC One.
Mental.
Why aren't Wales, Scotland, and Ireland playing in Euro A or whatever?
Might happen after the World Cup.
Why not before? Why are they faffing around?
Because
They're playing each other then.
I think they want England in it.
Why can Serbia and Malta and Netherlands and Germany and all these other countries?
Congratulations to Serbia for winning Euro B.
Why can all these countries, without any funding, and I know Wales and Ireland haven't got any, I know it's unfair of me to say that, but why can they get their houses in order to play games properly in proper competitions that count for something and mean something, rather than, we're going to play 2 tests? Because you play 2 tests, what's the point?
World ranking points. World ranking points are going to be quite interesting when the World Cup draw is made. Because do you go on this year's World ranking points because the games have all finished in November, or do you go on the new World ranking points we normally get in December, but the World Cup groupings are going to be based on World ranking points?
Why can't the Honourable Troy Grant, who tweets a lot about International Rugby League,
Does he?
sort it out and say, look, Wales and Ireland, I'm going
Because
to go
they're-
above the
because
European
they're
Federation.
bilateral
No, forget
arrangements
that.
between
Everything,
the two nations.
everything should be like International Rugby League.
They have
say,
to sanction it,
right.
but
Say,
they
well,
don't. But
do
they
it
don't
pro-
arrange it.
Well, they should be saying, Honourable Troy Grant, whatever he is, should be saying to them,
Right, honourable.
don't be playing games at the same time as other internationals in
shouldn't
the
really
same
need-
country.
You shouldn't really need to say that.
Well,
should
no,
you?
but they obviously have to be told because they don't.
Anyway.
England are playing Australia in the first time for 22 years. It was Great Britain then or whatever. There's all this hype. It's on the BBC. Everyone's talking about it. So we're going to play Wales and Ireland at the same time. 2 weeks in a row. Nonsense. You were going to say that, and then I stood all over you too. Cumbria beat Nigeria. They played on Sunday,
That wasn't a sanctioned game.
so that doesn't count.
It was sanctioned in that there was insurance and all that kind
Oh
of
yeah,
thing.
because they had more than
But again,
A friendly.
Cumbria should play England. No, they shouldn't play England.
No.
Because they're not a country.
It's not a country.
I was scrolling through Twitter last night and I thought, oh, there's a picture of me in a pink kit refereeing Cumbria.
Really?
Yeah.
Who were they playing?
It was, I think, when they played Jamaica before the last World Cup here.
Right.
They played at Workington. Yeah.
What had you done wrong to get given that game?
I think it was some form of punishment. I think it was one of the last games. In fact, it was my penultimate game. I think I refereed. I think that. I only refereed one game in the World Cup.
They should bring you back on Saturday, Rob.
I thought.
Yeah, bring you back on Sunday. Was no one there.
We discussed that in the car on the way home as to who should be the referee. We thought that you should go out in a blaze of glory by being given the third test.
Get you doing the 7-4-5 game. So Bentonville can't do that again, can he?
I don't know. It's in Gloucester. Presumably they'll have a rugby union referee.
Well, they had one each, didn't they, last time? A rugby union and a rugby league referee, if you remember. They had two
They
referees.
did in each half, and nobody knew what was
I
going on.
think he upset the speaker on Saturday because when he walked past, I said to somebody else, "That's the speaker," and he looked back with a glare. And I thought, "Well, you are the speaker. That's who you are."
Lord Kane was there.
Well, is that who you were talking to?
Yeah.
At the end, I should have introduced myself to him.
The Rob Burrows Centre opened.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Which again,
isn't it?
it's not directly related to what we were talking about.
But that's
just
good.
while it jumps
No.
into my mind.
Good.
To anybody who raised anything and supported the idea behind it, to see it now open. It was all over breakfast telly this morning. Fantastic. I mean, you know, would have been even better if Rob could have cut the ribbon himself or been there and at least witnessed it. But what a legacy!
An actual legacy.
Yeah, and no, genuinely, it is. You know,
I know because I know it is. Speaking of, when England played Tonga a couple of years ago, no, we didn't play Tonga. We played was it France or the Combined Nations? Oh, we had the special England Tonga kit to raise money for their. I think they had an earthquake, didn't they?
there had been an earthquake in Tonga.
There's a hurricane just been in Jamaica. Lots of us will have connections to Jamaica in this country, especially in the England Rugby League team, where in the past there will have been second or third generation Jamaicans playing for England and Great Britain. It would be nice if we could do something for Jamaica, and especially because Romeo's been on the programme before. You like Romeo, I like Romeo. You know him really well. Jamaica is something we can do good with in rugby league. England won the Ashes in the wheelchair rugby, and the scary thing is, the Australians are getting close to us. That's not good, is it? Because we just want it to be us and France.
Good at anything.
No,
we were
because
good at.
it's all
Came from behind to win, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
55-28 in the first
by
test.
Joe Coy.
Yeah, Joe Coy, the wheel of steel. And that was 48-42. So two very close games. Rob Hawkins is going to go back to back, isn't he, winning the Golden Boot? Have France played this year? So he's got to be. While he's down, just give him another one while he's there. I think they're coming back soon, so well done, England. It would be good if they showed some of the highlights of those on the telly this weekend.
Well, clips are there.
Well, it'd be better than doing
The
boring
coverage was really good, and the commentary was really good.
It'd be better than doing here's a feature with who's English, who's from Leeds. Here's Harry Newman walking around Roundhay Park or something with Kevin Brown.
Who's not playing?
No.
In this test.
Is he not?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Judging by
I'd
the way
play
things have gone so far.
I'd
Well,
play.
may as well do.
How do you know if he can play at that level?
Our league don't want to bait us into picking a team this week. So, your comment about Jake Connor getting on the pitch has won the comment of the week by our audience. So, well done. I'm going to have to clip that out because that's obviously. I'm just
It even got you laughing, actually. So it's been quite
I'm
funny.
supposed to be the funny one. And I don't even do that half the time. But well done to the England wheelchair team. And it'd be good to see you back in action. And we want to see them against France. We need more internationals. But how many years have we been saying this for? Yeah, but it's scary. The Australians are getting better now, isn't it? And which always was going to happen. And England wore the poppy kit in the second test. So we've all seen that now. So at least we're good at something. What happened in the Pacific Cup? Pacific Championship, Pacific Bowl?
New Zealand hammered
New Zealand
Tonga, didn't
looked
they?
really good.
What's happened to Tonga? 40 points to 14. Well, I mean, the real talking point about this game is injury the right word?
Seone Katoa.
You don't. When you see the phrase brain surgery, that's not something you want to see, even if it's minor brain
Possibly
surgery.
preventable.
I've not followed that story.
He got knocked out. Did he get knocked out in the warm up?
There was a head clash in the warm up, and it gashed just under his eye, and it clearly had affected him. Apparently, he passed an HIA, but went out and then got clattered a couple of times in the game, and had a convulsion on the bench.
Oh dear.
And was taken to hospital and had a bleed on the brain and has had brain surgery.
Yeah.
But I think there's some question marks over the doctor for allowing him to carry on after the initial head clash.
Especially if he's in the warm up, it shouldn't be.
But then if he did pass his HIA, then
Yeah, questions about the process. Papua New Guinea 50, Fiji 18 in the Pacific Bowl. They are the champions.
they are.
Hello to all our listeners in Papua New Guinea. Reece Martin with the trophy.
Brilliant. Was brilliant.
A great trophy.
It's a fantastic trophy.
It's a
Is it? I was going to say, is it a bowl?
it's a proper bowl.
So it's yeah.
Like a shell bowl or something?
Hand carved. What's interesting though again is we talk about our competition and the need for more England players to be available in our reservoir of talent, and yet one of Hull KR's great players this year is the captain of PNG who's lifted the ball. You know, it's that balance of you want cosmopolitan people in your competition to enlighten your competition, but
Lachlan Lamb there on the front row,
yeah.
isn't it?
Even a Pape.
Yeah.
As I always say, I am fully in favour of Fijians, Samoans, Tongans, Papua New Guineans coming over, Cook Islands playing in our competition, not fourth-rate Aussies from the Queensland Cup. And I know there's a big hypocrisy there because one of my team star players last year may have been one of those people from the Queensland Cup.
Nenny
But-
McDonald says he plays for Salford Red Devils.
well, until he's not paid,
Is he off to London?
supposedly. The
Won't get homesick there.
yeah, I think the first squad has been announced for next year,
Warrington's.
which is Warrington, and we're not going to we're not going early.
You're not bashing Warrington
We're not going
again,
early.
Phil, are you?
No,
We
we're
might
not
see
going
some,
early.
the problem is we might see Sam Burgess on Saturday because he's close to us,
It
isn't he?
says two things. One is clearly Matt Duffy's on his way out because he's dropped
off to
to
York
about
against
number 24, and Kai Taylor-Ray's got the number 1 shirt. Ollie Leyland has dropped to about 27, 28. And Ewan Irwin is ahead of him now. You can't read too much into squad numbers, but Leon Hayes and Ewan Irwin are way ahead of Ollie Leyland. So you wonder about how that's going to play out. But
Well, we had a message earlier saying should Warrington get rid of Williams now and shove Irwin in there straight away?
Irwin should be in there. But they've signed Josh Smith, I believe his name is,
He's a made-up player.
who is
He's a made-up. He's never made up his name.
Brisbane Tigers. And again, you think...
And James Bentley.
Brisbane who?
Really one of our top clubs who has access to the full salary cap and all the riches associated with it has replaced Roderick Ty with Josh Smith.
Warrington signing James Bentley is a continuation of their signings over years and years and years and years.
Well, again, we're not getting into Warrington.
No.
Tavita Pangai Jr. isn't.
He's not going, no.
So presumably that's why James Bentley became more of a priority.
Well done, Steve McNamara.
And James Bentley did come through the Bradford ranks with a certain Sam Burgess.
And Tyler Dupree's gone where on loan for the season?
Nowhere yet.
Oh,
It hasn't been announced, I don't think.
well, he was going to Toulouse.
Yeah.
I've read it somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's part of the
Oh, is it one of those...
speculation.
not speculation. Paul, again, has given you credit for the Jake Connor jokes. I'm definitely going to have to cut that out and
What,
clip
you?
it. Yeah.
James, oh, yeah.
Charles, now, it's just,
Talking to Bradford Bulls, new logo.
yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? What's the 4 stars
Is that
for?
just because it's Bradford?
Yeah, because I hate
thought
Bradford.
so.
What's the 4 stars for? Is it for petrol? Because it can't be for anything else. There's a reference. All of our audience will
4
understand that
stars.
joke.
I used to surf 4-star petrol.
Yeah, I've heard of
4
4-star
stars.
petrol.
4 stars for what though? Because they've won nothing. Because they don't exist.
The
Like
It wasn't that long ago, and I thought their logo was looking old, actually.
What do you think about the Leeds one though? Should Leeds change?
Well,
theirs?
yeah, I think Leeds is looking old.
Because you're a young person. You know about branding and stuff. You've got a brand.
It looks even more
Is
like
it-
an NFL logo
is it
to
AI?
me.
or is it a proper logo?
It looks a bit meh. It's like Castleford. It's
Yeah,
meh.
I'm not blown away by it, but
No, I don't think it'll look good when I put it on the videos. But then again, I'm not going to interview anyone from Bradford. So.
But again, do you think this is IMG's influence? That
Well,
now all of a sudden clubs
everyone's
are
got
now
new logos.
refreshing their
I
brand?
even wait for the refresh theirs from. They changed it under Mr. Carter and then changed it again under Mr. Ellis slightly. So. Tonga beat Papua New Guinea 42-6 in the Pacific Bowl. We're wondering what's happened to the Orchids. Yeah, Women's Bowl.
So the Tonga men slightly on the decline.
Yeah.
Tonga women on an upward curve. PNG men on an upward curve. PNG women
Well,
decline.
obviously, we need to get more PNG Orchids into Super League and the NRLW.
And Nigerian players.
And LC Albert signed a new deal with Parramatta. We don't know where Paige Travis is going yet still. There's not been really any movement in Women's Super League, has there? Apart from coaches leaving and
Laurie Halloran's left.
Yeah, maybe that's where Lindsay Anfield's going to go. Sadie Harvey's gone back to Huddersfield, where she won.
Did she once play at Huddersfield?
She won the player of the match in the Championship Shield final in 2021 because I decided who was the player of the match. So I definitely know she played it because I called her Sade all the way through because I didn't know how to pronounce it, but afterwards I could ask her what.
Sade.
Sade.
That's
Diamond
single, isn't
lights.
it?
Yeah.
Look,
But no, Sade. Sade.
smooth operator.
Sade Rihara.
Generally positive comments on the logo. Interesting.
Brad.
Oh, don't read that.
Interesting that they went in full caps locks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who do you think they are? Derek Beaumont. What's going on?
That's what I thought.
Were they shouting?
Is it an AI? But
Talking of coaches,
coaches, yes.
Paul Wellens,
Yes,
Yes,
new
he's
job
a
at
coach
North
coach at
Queensland.
North
Good for
Queensland.
him.
I think that's a good appointment for him.
And for North Queensland, I think.
Yeah.
And I think he'll thrive outside of that goldfish bowl where he just couldn't win.
No, he was never going to. We said that, didn't we, halfway through the season? Was the game of the weekend New Zealand, Australia, and the women's?
It was sensational. I mean,
10-4
again,
Australia.
I didn't get up at 4 in the morning
No.
to watch it, but I've seen all the highlights, and what a game!
Phil, I thought better of you. I never expected you to get up at that hour.
Even me, as the big
I had program articles to write.
big advocate of women's rugby league. No, I just watched it. I did watch it in full though. I didn't watch the highlights as I do with most games.
What I learned I was actually watching the test match back. If you watch on a laptop as opposed to an iPad, you can increase the speed.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you can
that's
watch
good.
it
You can
times
wind it
2,
on
times
quicker.
1.5, and unlike on the iPad, you can't do that.
So you can have
This week when England lose and
Are you not
third
ahead of
test, no, I'm not going.
We might not be yet, Phil.
You can
I
you can
thought
fast
you'd
forward it.
be one of the guests.
Bit of
right?
hospitality.
No, we are going to Newcastle on a fact finder mission on Friday and Saturday. So we're a bit of work, bit of pleasure.
Mission.
Yeah.
That sounds like the kind of thing that
Work
if you were the
related.
chief executive of the Rugby Football League, you'd be sent on to go to America or Australia or something.
Interestingly, trying to remember his name, Steve ex Keithley Cougars has got a job at Newcastle as their general manager,
Right.
who'd left Keithley. So and
Have the Cougars done anything daft this week? Because we're big fans of the Cougars.
not this week. I
No,
don't
that's a
think.
shame. We like them. I bought a shirt and everything. There's something I was going to say before I asked the big question of the week, and I know I say we're running out of time, but
We
it's
started.
open-ended. Yeah. What could I have possibly have said? I can't remember. Anyway, so
Big question of the week.
Who
which
is-
intriguing.
who is the next England coach? That's not to say.
Oh, you've gone
that's-
early there.
No. Let me put this proviso in there.
Are you going to the press conference on?
I was going to say, let's hope
Just
that
I might not be accredited.
the England
Sean
the
Wayne.
England staff
Yeah.
are watching this.
I-
Tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
it will be put to
I'm going to
Sean.
clip it out. I might not be accredited yet. I might not be allowed into heading there. I might be watching.
You won't
at home.
after that.
No.
you are.
Sean
Let
will
me
make
let
sure.
me say who should be the next England coach whenever Sean Wayne leaves the role. He could be there forever. He could be the England coach emeritus.
England lose 3-0. I think it's difficult to see Sean Wayne coaching England in the World Cup.
I think
in my opinion.
he's an honourable man. You would expect if they've lost 3-0 that he would stand down rather than have to go through the process of being removed from the job
Because he
He's
got
on
on
gardening leave. Notice.
Did he get a contract extension into the
to the end of the World Cup.
He's an
So
RFL employee. So
he would need paying out.
He'd be subject to the RFL
notice
employment
periods and
laws.
stuff. Yeah.
So he's not.
Not like when you were on the board for
He's
2
a-
minutes. Not like that.
Well, the RFL like paying people up, don't they? Like, you know. Well, I don't imagine that Tony Sutton has just resigned.
No, he's on gardening leave till March.
We'll get him on the podcast.
But I suspect that.
Then I would imagine he's got some sort of package in the same way that Nigel did when he left.
Yeah, I think we were told on Saturday that Sean Wayne is an employee, so would be subject to whatever the conditions of employment
Like
are at
if
the
you've got a
RFL.
proper job.
Okay.
So if, like, on either side you have to give X months' notice, it will be that rather than paying him off for the...
Oh, I see. Right.
I
See, all our
suspect,
listeners-
that's what I took
They've
it to
got
me.
they've got proper jobs. They don't pretend to run a bookshop.
But if
really
he
they're
if you
assistant
if he's sitting down at the the end of the series for his
Review.
end of year review, or what do you call it, your appraisal?
Yeah.
Who's doing the review? That's what I was asking earlier. Who's above him that does the
Abia
review?
Koku.
Abia Koku.
Yeah. Then a KPI would be surely.
You didn't get us to the World Cup. You now told us that this was a vitally important step and we weren't going to lose it 3-0. We might not.
It might not
be
do.
2-0.
Might not
be
do.
2-0.
Yeah.
So who is going to be the England coach?
Does it really
post
matter?
Sean?
Is my
Well, I mean,
follow-up
the
question.
the answer to that question is no. So let's
Yes.
end the program here.
Yes.
No, it does,
The
Yes,
fundamental the
what
fundamental
matters
question
is
is
the
of the
style of
structure.
play.
Yeah, I agree.
And to be fair to the England coach, whoever that is, the pathways underneath it.
Yeah.
Because at the
Agreed.
moment, England Knights may as well not exist. The under-18s play Origin, but they've not played the Australian school.
'Cause of
So
the-
if you put in a proper pathway that's going to bring through some more talent you can pick from, then yes, the coach matters.
Of the three, go on, sorry.
But my point was, frankly, it could be me because they'd still
Go on,
lose
then.
3. They'd still lose
That's
3-0.
who
James Shaw, I'll put you on the ground.
They'd definitely lose 3-0. But that's what I'm being a bit churlish when I say that.
The name I heard
Churlishness.
over the weekend, which will not happen. Somebody said you need someone who can come up with a game plan that is a winning game plan
Right. Okay,
in a limited amount of time with the players that you have at your disposal. So it's almost like
Scully.
the playoffs. Plus has experience of the NRL. Could be Sky as well.
Yeah.
Not him.
Oh,
This is like
that would be brilliant. Can you imagine that?
This
Gary
is like
Schofield,
what they
England
did
coach
on
for the World
the
Cup.
Stars in Their Eyes. You'd give you clues tonight,
Yeah.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be.
Gary
Right,
Schofield.
Matthew, it's-
Well, I interrupting again, but Wayne Bennett, the world's best coach supposedly, still couldn't bring success to the team.
Well, but he got closer.
And he had
and
talk
he
about
should-
selection.
And he should have had his contract renewed, but he was
Is Joe Burgess going to be the Ash
overlooked
Handley
for
of this
Sean
tour?
Wayne.
Hmm.
The
He had
appraisal,
halfbacks playing wing.
the appraisal of Wayne Bennett said we need to let Wayne Bennett finish the job that he started, and the decision by the board was we're not going to listen to what you say.
Well, he made a hash of Great Britain, didn't he? Really.
Yeah, but
So go on then. Fits the NRL experience.
Not Gary Schofield. Yeah, come on.
Brian McDermott.
Brian McDermott. Right. Brian McDermott. We'll put him on the graphic. Brian McDermott. Put a big question mark over
The
his head.
great thing about that was if the RFL stays as it currently sort of is at the moment and isn't taken over and becomes a service industry for somebody else, then
Hotels.
I would love Brian McDermott to walk into the Etihad and go, right lads, you're all crap. You've all got to go. It's like so Brian Clough, innit?
Not Richard Agar because he's in the NRL.
Well, he won't mince his words, that's for sure.
No. And he won't accept a system that doesn't give him the best people to do the job for him.
Paul Wellens.
He would tell them where he felt they were going wrong.
Right. Sean Wayne must do that, mustn't he? You might.
No, I don't think he
he's-
does because
he's
Sean's
different.
employed by Wigan.
So we need someone independent, are we saying? He can't be.
No, I think the
Can you do it-
the
can you do
person
it
that told
part-time?
me it should be Brian McDermott was saying that when it comes to getting a group of talented players together who all have egos and different ways of playing, he has in his successful period he managed to harness those elements to make them a successful group, and that's what we don't seem to have at the moment. But also it needs someone that now can see the way the Aussies are playing at the moment, can have an insight into how they're being coached and the methods that are being used, and bring that into the camp and use whatever he feels would be relevant, and that they think he is the only guy at the moment. It's very highly thought of.
So the next but one England coach could be Paul Wellens.
Yeah. Well,
Well, we don't know what the World Cup format's going to be, do we? There's supposedly rumours of 5 in one pool and
4-3 and 3.
4-3 and 3.
4 is a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, 4-3 and 3. That's what it's same
Of
as the
which
2008 World Cup,
The
isn't
top two will go
Top
through
two.
to the
So
semi-final.
is that
Yeah.
New Zealand, England, Australia, and oh
it? Last time it was the same
New
format
Zealand,
for the
New
2008.
Zealand and Australia will be in
right.
Group
So we're
A.
in one of the pools because we're not super anymore.
No, it's not that.
No. They put 2 minnows in that pool in 2008, I think.
Yeah.
That there were sacrificial lambs.
But apparently we are likely to be in a pool.
Well, we're going to be in one of the
With
three
I-
pools. I know.
With either...
No, it's straight to the final.
with either, I was building up the tension. With either Samoa or Tonga.
And is that a group where only one team will qualify for the?
It's a group
Yeah.
where apparently the 3 teams in Group B will play the 3 teams in Group C.
Yeah, but where's the logic in that?
So
I know there must be some.
we
but-
will have to get into the semi-finals.
What drugs are these people on?
The likelihood is we will have to be either Samoa or Tonga in the group stages.
Hang on.
Well, yeah, I mean, they beat Samoa not Samoa, Tonga in the last series.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Can we just have a normal World Cup?
Well, the 2008 World Cup,
10
I thought
teams-
was a good format, actually.
10 teams is not easy to have a normal World Cup.
No,
2
but
groups are fine.
I thought it
Have
worked.
one group of 10 like the cricket do. Just have a mad
What
World
it did
Cup.
do in 2008, though, you had games like Ireland, because they played at Parramatta, and I went to watch that game, and I can't remember who they played, like, I don't know, like Tonga, Cook Islands, wherever it was. But those games were really good contests. You know, you weren't getting cricket scores, you were getting good, entertaining games. So I think,
that's what
Yeah.
will happen.
yeah.
That's why Channel 7 has spent $12 million to feature our World Cup, because it's going to be literally over a month. It's not going to be some rambling
No, goes on forever.
3-year competition where you don't know who's playing who at what level.
What if Australia win them all now? We're doing the wheelchair one as well. Anyway,
Talking of World Cups and
Oh,
debt.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
this
well,
was a conversation, wasn't it?
Oh, this video is going to this signal discussion's gone to pot now. We'll forget this.
Sorry.
But no, because
It's another great one to throw. You know, you're playing poker and you go, by the way, you owe us a load of money.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
are we responsible for that, Phil? Because we were paid by the World Cup to do that tour. Are we responsible for the loss?
Arts Council.
Oh, it's
we were
okay.
paid by the
So
I
the RFL would have been underwriting that for the
Yeah.
for the
was worried.
IRL, wouldn't they?
Yeah. It's
Um,
the IRL
and
that
it
don't
made a
have the
loss.
money. But Mr. Volandis happens to be on the IRL. So.
Oh, maybe we could just write off that debt
Yeah.
if. Yeah.
We'll take your competition and we'll.
Can he buy the George as well?
It's a bit late for that. Although the owner of Sydney Roosters has just
He's bought a
bought.
big hotel. Is it a big hotel or a pub or what has he bought?
No, it's the Caxton pub is the most famous pub in Australian rugby league. It's next to what was Lang Park is now Suncorp, and it's
right,
it's
yeah,
where
yeah,
all of the Brisbane stroke Queensland fans go for a drink before the game. It's very famous.
So it's Brian McDermott then. Is that if we decided he's going to be the England coach?
I'm merely saying to you that somebody said to me he would fit the criteria for the next England coach in terms of you don't have very long with the players, coming up with a game plan for a specific opponent in a relatively short space of time, and an intimate inside knowledge of exactly what is happening in the NRL at the moment by way of how players are being trained, tactics, all that kind of thing. Which it looks to me that element's missing from what we're doing at the moment.
Paul Rowley, Darryl Powell, Mark Applegarth, James
Paul
Fodge.
Rowley, I think in the short term will have all on
Yeah.
getting his feet under the table
I'd
to
say
the
some
elements.
names.
I think he has a massive job to impose his
100%.
standard and style of play on his club team. I think the World Cup comes too soon for him.
Well, it isn't going to be a head coach, is it? I can't see how a head coach is also England coach.
It's going to be difficult.
In the same way that Sean Wayne isn't
Well,
head coach at Wigan, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to promote from within. Andy Last, Sam Tompkins, the dream team. Sam can be on the pitch pointing them out, and
No.
Andy Last can put the cones out.
Not a chance.
Joel Tompkins.
And that's no slight on
James
either
Brown.
of those men, but it won't be them, will
No,
it?
James
So,
Brown.
because I think again, if you're moving away,
yeah, it's not going to be them.
Brian Noble, he's from Bradford.
And by the way,
Everyone
it
from
might be
Bradford
Sean
gets
Wayne. So
It might well,
it
but
might
I said
well be
after
Sean
Sean
Wayne. And I
Wayne.
think if they win
after Sean
2-1,
Wayne.
then
If we win,
Maybe.
if we win on Saturday, we've still lost the Ashes, and we still haven't won them since 1970.
and I'm never going to see it in my lifetime.
And now the chat's descended into watch the World Cup format be, which is always good fun because you just make up whatever you want. But at least we might win one of the World Cups next year.
I think the
crossed.
World Cup format's due out the third week in November.
When's the? Is anyone from England or Australia going to win the Golden Boot? Do you think? It can't be any of the women from England because they've only
Well,
played 3 games.
who's going to win the Really Fulton medal?
Well, after week 1 you'd have said Reece Walsh, but after week 2 you say, well, it can't be Reece Walsh because he got Simbin and he was
Munster.
not very good.
What is it?
Yeah, Munster, Cameron Munster. You're going to say Harry
Harry
Grant
Grant?
No, I don't think Grant was outstanding.
Munster, I'd say. I think.
because his nickname Archie. That's what I want to know. But that's one again for the audience of this program. People say, "Oh, your cultural references." Yeah, but I've seen the demographics. I know the audience. We're all right. Go
think-
get on your TikToks.
I think the Australian second row's been very good as well, very consistent over the 2 games.
So is the Golden Boot selected on just internationals?
Yes.
Yeah, because they buggered it up, didn't they?
Because the IRL bought it and they are only
Because if it
interested
was,
in international.
if it was everything, it probably would be Reece Walsh based on
Yeah.
the end of the last season, but it's not. So, well, again, we'll give out the 40-20 medal, which is not real, to whoever we feel like could give it to anyone. I don't know who we'd give it to in the women's game because it'd have to be an Australian.
We'd have to devote a whole programme to it,
Yeah.
and there's no rugby to
Yeah,
talk
so
about.
that's not next week. The week after,
Yeah.
the season review, which may include medals. Who would I give? No, I can't. No, don't say that. Right. I've had a message saying I've got a great story for you. Ring me when the show finishes. So that's the end of the show now. We'll be back with you next week for the 3rd test. I mean, you've done 3 weeks in a row, James. That's
Is it 3?
2.
2.
Feels like 3.
Were you the week before? I thought you were the week.
I was here after test match 1.
Oh right.
Yeah, he's only here for the glory hunter. He's
I think
just
I
here
did.
for the
No,
big
I
game.
might have been after the grand final.
I'm sure you've been.
Yeah,
on
I think
3
you
of
might be
them,
right actually.
because I'm sure you've been in more than you've not been recently.
I don't
So
think
you must have done the grand final, then missed a week when
I
there
think
were
I'm-
no games,
I think-
and then
yeah.
have come
That's
back
fair
for
enough,
the-
isn't it? Because nothing. I don't even know.
just
what
coming in
we're
for the
talking
big
So
games. You
3 hours.
see,
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
big game
Yeah.
signing.
about. You're like half the media at these
I think
grand
you
finals.
pulled your calf, hadn't you, for the one
That's
between?
it, yeah.
I pulled
Anything
my calf
controversial
this
with the referees, I'm not here.
week. No.
Yeah.
I don't put my calf
So
in.
we'll round up the series next week.
Yeah, then we'll do the year in review the week after, and then we might have a break, possibly. We might have a guest on later in the week, so stay tuned for that. But from the Shambles non-structured podcast, it is structured. It's like Mikey Lewis. We go out there, like Sky would want us to do. We go out there and
play as we
what
see it.
Yeah,
And now it's time for Terry's chocolate orange toffee crunch.
it looks like a hippo's head.
Christmas themed. We're
Hippo's,
going early.
I
yeah.
know. What's November, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is November.
That's it.
Thanks for watching. Enjoy the
Third
fireworks.
portion, thanks.
And we might see you at Headingley if we're allowed in. But judging by what we've been saying today,
You're not.
well, I'm not. No, I'll be out. See you next week.